An eventful week on Twitter. We're only 1 week into the new Twitter CEO's reign. Jack is gone, and already David Sachs has been flagged. It's a guy. It can't be a coincidence that you were talking about them flagging accounts at the end of free speech. And then, pull it up on the screen, everybody. Investors should be spending their time finding good investments, not endlessly debating interest rates, inflation, and tax policy. But that's the uncertainty Washington has created. It's a great tweet. I like that tweet, actually. And then the flag, the conversation from Sachs has been flagged. Some conversations can get heavy. Don't forget the human behind the screen.
Do you think that that's machine learned, or do you think that that's an editor that goes in there and actually just manually flags?
Machine learned.
No, I think it's a great question.
But what is in there that actually triggers?
We're debating Washington,
interest rates, tax policy, Washington.
I'm not sure that you could build,
or maybe it's the ratio.
I don't know how you would build a function that would weight this in a way where this could get flagged of all the things you could say with those words. This is so benign.
Well, I think it's the kind of, it seems to be this thing's trying to ward off bullying attacks on Sachs, which I don't think Sachs needs to be too worried about.
Oh, right, because they're telling this to people who would reply.
You're saying it's there to protect me.
It's to protect you. It's one of those things where they're like trying to get people to not insult you in the comments.
They're talking about that.
Maybe you get a lot. Do you get a lot of insults and comments on your tweets?
Oh, undoubtedly. But
so it could just be a blanket.
This tweet's comments section was pretty benign.
Oh, right. It may not be about the tweet. It might be about the replies.
No,
so it might be that
this wasn't that hot. This wasn't that hot.
Huh.
I think Chamath might be onto something. You know, Michelle Tandler got the same label around the same day for a tweet that seemed totally innocuous too. So what I wonder about is, is this label to protect us, or is it sort of a passive aggressive way for snowflakes at Twitter to like label people they don't like and sort of suggest they're vaguely disreputable?
I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that at all.
You think it's a left wing conspiracy? It's the libs going after the right. The Sachs. You're paranoid.
I haven't seen any liberals getting. I haven't seen any left wing people getting labeled this way.
There seems to be a blanket attempt at trying to kind of mute the tone a little bit across the debating that happens and the comments that come across in the replies, and I think they're just trying to like get everyone to tone it down a bit.
I think it's read the story before you tweet it.
It'd be really interesting to know whether this was algorithmic or it was editorial, because I think if it's editorial, it does actually, I don't think it's as extreme as what David just said, but it skews more in the realm of like people with an axe to grind can flag one thing over another or not, right? But if it's algorithmic, I think that algorithm probably just needs a lot of tweaking because it's not
well,
very
anyway,
big.
this...
Doesn't it say that there's a person behind the tweet? It's like trying to get people to not say kind of
there's nothing wrong with the warning. The warning is charming. The warning's charming. Be nice to each other.
It's trying to get you to be nice to each other.
It's ridiculous.
It's like your mom inserting herself and being like, now remember.
It's there to suggest that there might be something wrong with the content that's being posted.
Well, you know
in other words, the content is so triggering that, it needs warning labels.
Do you guys think that paternalism has a role on social networks to try and mollify the kind of discourse being too acrimonious? Like,
I think we need some of the transparency that Jack Dorsey repeatedly promised at all the congressional hearings. Remember when he got hauled up there, he promised that they would give more transparency about the way that their algorithms worked. Where is that? And it hasn't been delivered up. They promised it. Now Jack Dorsey's skipped out of town and there's a new guy in charge. Well, we need to know how these algorithms work because they are pressing their thumb on the scale, of debate in the marketplace of ideas by suggesting that some ideas are sketchier than others.
They should just put here, this was algorithmically done based on, they should explain it. Or there should be a little question mark. You hover the question mark. Based on the words in the thread, it feels like things are getting heated here. We did this with an algorithm. Or users reported this as a heated thread, so we put this here. Or a human
decided.
did it.
No, we decided.
We decided, yeah.
But you want it to be an open marketplace of ideas, but the fact is it's Twitter's marketplace of ideas.
Yeah.
And Facebook's is Facebook's marketplace of ideas. And at the end of the day, I don't think you're going to get away from any of these centralized social networks having anything but some degree of moderation to play a role in
a related thing, they didn't just target Sachs. Also, Chamath, you didn't see this, but they flagged one of your tweets just this afternoon. Pull it up. As you can see here, it's a slightly different one. It says, layers are for players. This conversation will drift to $5,000 sweaters. So a big warning for Chamath to just And for the people replying, be careful.
Well, that must have been human. That's human initiated
for sure. And this one came in for Prof G. Another one came in for Prof G. So, and in this case, I think they're actually trying to think about the public good. This guy is full of shit. He thought JCPenney would beat Amazon.
How many hours of masterclass Adobe Photoshop did you take to get this little joke?
I didn't make these. My meme team did. I'm convinced that there's two ways to raise your next fund in Silicon Valley. One, have one of the top 50 podcasts in the world, or two, have a strong meme game. And I'm going for both. Sachs now has a warning on his. And this one they put on your profile page. Sachs, read
this was crazy. Warning, this person has interesting things to say. If you're too interesting, you get labeled now. It's really crazy. I saw Jake Al having too much fun with this, and I'm like, I gotta get in on this act.
You're like, I need a meme team.
Yeah, exactly.
If anybody out there, I don't care if I need a comedian. I'm willing to pay on a pay per meme, a pay per viral, whatever it takes. Okay,